Good evening from Johannesburg, fellow Ugandans. My name is Andrew Karamaji. It's been a long day, and so I had been offline for a couple of hours, and I got home to a barrage of deeply offensive tweets by a buffoon called Muhoozi Kainerugaba, who, as a matter of, or a consequence of the incestuous nature of the regime, family rule that we have back home in Uganda, happens to be the Chief of Defense Forces of the National Army, known as the Uganda People's Defense Forces, is a special presidential advisor on special operations, and is a major pillar of the ruling family back home. These are my raw thoughts about, and I apologize for my dress code. It's late, as I told you. I just got home, and this is an emergency that I have to all right-thinking Ugandans should respond to immediately. So these are my raw thoughts about the tweets, the continued campaign of abductions, torture, unlawful detention, arrests, disappearances, and killings of Ugandans under the direction of General Muhoozi Kainerugaba, together with the tacit or outright approval of these actions by his father and people around the first family who enable these heinous crimes. The latest of which is the abduction and unlawful detention of the head of Robert Chagulanyi's security, head of security, Mr. Eddy Mutwe. 4 things. I do not intend for this to be a long note. 1, let's be clear. General Muhoozi Kainerugaba is committing crimes. That's the starting point. These are acts of criminality. There is no way to justify, explain, or otherwise clean up, sanitize these actions, these statements, these tweets. These are egregious violations of human rights. That's 1. His crimes can be located in the Penal Code, in the Human Rights Enforcement Act. These are also affronts to the Constitution, which guarantees the rights to human liberty and freedom, the rights to association and expression, and several other laws, including the law governing soldiers or the military in Uganda. Muhoozi is committing offenses against those provisions of the law in Uganda. That's 1. 2, I am of the considered opinion that these actions are not innocent. They are not the actions of a drunk. They're not the actions of an unconscious, drunk, or misguided person. These are statements, and this is my opinion, that are being made to provoke a response from the victims and justify an even harsher crackdown by the regime, and then blame the same victims for the violence that they're going to mete out on the victims. This is my view. So even as we mount a response at the legal, political, and international front, let's be alive to the fact that these are not the ramblings. These are not innocent ramblings or misguided ramblings or the actions of someone who is not in charge of his mental faculties. The man is a buffoon. He's an idiot. I agree. Muhoozi is a buffoon. He's an idiot. Let's be clear. But there is a greater end for which these tweets are intended. And it is intended to annoy into action and therefore justify an even more violent crackdown. Muhoozi and his colleagues are bloodthirsty. They are itching for blood. They want to either take power or impose even harsher political restrictions on the population, which is clearly tired of them, but they need a justification. And the justification will come from them, from responses from the population that will then give them the cover under which to commit even more criminality. My third point, I said I have 4, and I will not take, I hope I do not take longer than I should, is that we in the legal and human rights community, media, and others, this is not limited to those, everybody, essentially, should document and keep track of these crimes against Ugandans for future use in tribunals and inquiries after the Museveni family is out of power. There certainly will be a day for reckoning. Inshallah, we will be there to ensure that these people are either brought to justice or justice is brought to them for these actions that they are committing. Let's systematically document these statements, these tweets, these abductions, these killings that are going on, this low-intensity war that Muhoozi and his family have declared on Ugandans, with a view to using them in the future for evidentiary purposes and prosecution in prosecution. Fourth and finally, I am a Munyankore. Both my parents are Banyankore, which makes me a Munyankore. The actions that Muhoozi is perpetrating are being, he is portraying them or clothing them under the cover of as these being done in the name of or on behalf of Banyankore. as one from that ethnic group, I take complete unequivocal exception to such a statement and would wish that more Banyankore come out to take exception to this madness, condemn, and take more steps even beyond condemnation against this clear attempt at setting one ethnic group against the rest or against another. Speak out and reject this level of madness that Muhoozi is engaging in. It is not a crime to be a Muganda, which is Eddy Mutwe's ethnicity. Certainly not a crime to be the leader that Honorable Kyagulanyi is in Uganda. And it is also not, just like it isn't for Eddy Mutwe, it is not a crime for Kyagulanyi to exercise his political rights. And being a Muganda doesn't make it a crime either. This amateurish, buffoonish attempt at dividing Ugandans along these lines is a playbook that has long expired. General Museveni, Muhoozi's father, used it against our parents. We cannot let the son use the same playbook against Ugandans in 2025. This video has gone to 12 minutes. I do not intend for it to take longer, but I hope that we can, beyond these words and analysis, articles, video notes, and so on, begin to mount a united response against what is a clear case of family rule, and prevent the descent, the further descent into outright anarchy of our country. It's outrageous. It defies logic. It's complete madness. But those are my raw and edited thoughts about the situation in Uganda, with specific regard to Muhoozi Kainerugaba and the heinous crimes he is indulging in. Thank you.